Okay, so we're going to be looking at lesson 3.6 today, but our focus is now going to be on the ors, okay? So I kind of wanted to review with you real quick what we put about ors in the other day, okay? So an or is going to be true for at least one of the inequalities, okay? It only has to be true for one. And what we're going to be asking ourselves is what has been graphed or shaded? So what has a mark on it? If it's got a mark, it's an answer, okay? All right, let's go ahead and flip to page 3 and take a look at our first example. Okay, so on the or statements here, it says write a compound inequality that represents the phrase and then graph. So for all real numbers are less than 0 or greater than or equal to 5. Okay, all right, so zoom in here a little bit. Now just keep in mind that when we see all real numbers, we're actually just putting a variable in there. All right, so we can say like x, oops, back to the pencil there, x is less than 0, or we're going to put the word or in. Now, it's a little different than and you would kind of scrunch together. It didn't have to have the word and in it. Or will always have the word or in it. And then you're going to repeat the first part here. So x is greater than or equal to 5. Okay, so let's try it again. Again, all real numbers just means put a variable in. So this time I'm going to use m. Less than or equal to 2.5, or m is greater than 6. Okay, so again, this is how all of your or statements will look for a final answer. Okay, so it's this or this. Okay, so now when we look at a picture of an or, they're actually going to usually shoot out. Okay, so when we're writing, you're going to write each one individually and just stick the word or in between. So x is less than -2, or x can be greater than or equal, okay, because it's got a filled in circle, right? So we need that equal sign, 1. And that would be your answer. So again, you're just writing both of these down individually and then sticking the word or in between. Okay. All right, so let's take a look again. So on this guy, x, open circle going this way, so no equal sign, -1, or x can be greater than 2. Okay. All right, so let's take a look here at our first problem. So just like on the ands, we're just going to go ahead and start solving. All right, and so on this guy, oops, if you need to draw a wall, draw your wall if you need to do that. So then we're going to subtract 1. So a will be less than 3. On this guy, we're going to add 1 over. So a will be greater than or equal to 4. All right, so let's go ahead and start our grid. 2, 3, 4, 5. Again, just get a few going there. All right, so at 3, I've got an open circle. I'm heading out this way. And on this guy, I have a closed circle heading out this way. Okay, so again, this is what a normal or statement should look like. Okay, so this is your graph. There's no overlapping. It's just what's got marking on it. So everything from 4 up and everything from 3 down. So in this middle area, there's no answers here because there's no marking. So there's no answers here in the middle. Okay, so now when you write your final answer, when you write your final answer here, you actually already have it ready to roll right here. All you really have to do is put the word or in between, and there's your answer. Okay, so again, it would be x is less than 3, or x is greater than or equal to 4. Okay, all right, let's try another one here. So let's go to B. All right, so on B, gotta love this first part. It's already solved for us, so we're going to work on solving the second part here. So we're going to start by subtracting 2 off of both sides. Again, draw a wall if you need to. So we have 4x is less than 8, divide by 4, and x is less than 2. Okay, so let's go ahead and draw our grid here. So I've got 2, 9. Okay, so on 2, I've got an open circle heading this way. And on 9, I've got a closed circle heading this way. All right, so again, x is less than 2, or x is greater than or equal to 9. So right here would be your final graph with your final answer. Again, all you really got to do is just stick the word or in between it. There's no special way to write it. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and go to the next page. Okay, so we're going to look at this first guy here, our C. Okay, so we're going to start by dividing by 2. So x will be less than -8. Okay, on the second guy here, I'm going to multiply both sides by -2. So those will cancel. Now, when you divide or multiply by a negative, an equality symbol has to flip. Make sure that you do that. Equals -14. Then we're going to add 4 to both sides. And so when I do that, x is greater than -10. All right, so let's put this on our number line here. So I've got -8, -9, -10. All right, and I've got a open circle on -8 heading this way, and I have an open circle on -10 heading this way. Now, this one's a little different because before they've always shot out. These guys are overlapping, so it actually kind of looks like an and statement, but it's got the word or up there. So remember, or, what has a mark above it? What has shading? Well, if in this case, if you're looking at your number line, there's a mark here, there's 2 marks here, and there's a mark down here. The whole thing is marked. So when the whole thing is marked up like that, your answer is going to be all reals, all real numbers. Okay, because everything technically on my number line here has got shading on it. So everything's going to be an answer. Okay. All right. Why don't we go ahead? I want you to pause the video and I want you to try to do D on your own now. Okay. So you should have started by dividing -5 on both sides there. So x. Now, did you flip your inequality symbol when you divided by that negative? And you got -5. Okay, so then on this second guy here, we're going to subtract 5 off. Okay, so on this side, we have 3/4 x less than or equal to -12. Now on this guy, we're going to multiply by the reciprocal. So we're going to multiply by 4/3. So that cancels. X, sign stays the same because I multiplied by a positive number. Okay, and then if you want to put that 12 over 1, you can cross cancel this. This would go to 4. 3 goes in there 4 times. 3 goes in there once. So you should end up with -16 when you do that. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead. We got -5. Way down here will be -16. So at -5, we have an open circle going to the right. -16, we got a closed circle heading to the left. And that looks like a good or statement. So x is less than or equal to -16, or x is greater than -5. So there would be your graph with your final answer right there. Okay, again, you're just writing it with an or. Always has an or in it. All right, last example here. Write an inequality and solve the problem. And this will include graphing, okay? So the sum of a number in 3 is no more than 8 and is more than 12. All right, so just like the other day here when we did our ands, this first part is going to be repeated, all right? You've been given 2 separate endings. Is no more than 8 or is more than 12. Now that or is really important as well, okay? All right, so sum of a number in 3. So sum means add. So I'm going to get x plus 3. Okay, is no more than 8. So I put 8 over here, and then no more than 8 means 8's my biggest. So alligator eats the bigger number, and it can be equal to it. Or repeat the first part, x plus 3. So again, make sure that you're doing repeat the first part there. Okay. Is more than 12. So more than 12 means 12 is my smallest number. Okay. All right, so now solve. So you can subtract 3 from both sides here and get x is less than or equal to 5. Subtract 3 from both sides here and get x is greater than 9. Okay, so now do your graph just to double check to make sure it's not a special case. So I've got closed circle on 5, heading out, open circle on 9, heading out. Okay, so that looks like a good or statement. So now x is less than or equal to 5 or x is greater than 9. And that would be your answers right there. And I think that concludes our notes for lesson 3-6, the ORs.